So I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time now. It's not quite going to be a review. It's really just going to be talking about why I love the Ricoh GR3X and why it became one of my favorite cameras. You know, with reviews, it can get really technical and discussing about the features and everything like that. And I'm not going to be really doing that today at all. So I highly encourage you to go check out other YouTubers who have a more in-depth review regarding this camera. And you should be able to find quite a bit, as this camera came out in 2018 and I'm discussing about it in 2025. I felt compelled to make a video about the Ricoh GR3X because I think it's important that camera manufacturers know that more people want to see more cameras like the Ricoh. And what I'm saying is that we want something compact and small and pocketable, but also something with a good sensor like this APS-C sensor. Now, if they were able to make this full frame, that would be a different story. I don't even know if that's physically possible. So there's a few things about the Ricoh GR3X that I feel compelled to talk about. It's the size, it's the shooting experience, it's being in the moment. I have not been able to find a camera that mimics the Ricoh GR3 or the GR3X. I think Fujifilm gets pretty close, and I even myself have a Fujifilm X100V, but that's a very different shooting experience than the Ricoh GR3X, which I'll get into later. Fujifilm does make really compact cameras like the XM5, but once you put a lens on it, it can get a little bit bulky. What makes the Ricoh GR3X so attractive to me is that I can just put it in my pocket. It's not a cumbersome tool. I find it really easy to use, enjoyable to use, and it goes everywhere with me. Shooting with the Ricoh GR3X isn't like shooting with a mirrorless camera and a lens, or any interchangeable lens system. And what I mean by that is that it lacks a viewfinder. So when it lacks a viewfinder, you have to compose differently. The reason why I picked up the 40mm focal length was because 50mm is my favorite focal length. So I was hoping to get as close to that as possible. I quickly found out that the way I was shooting with the Ricoh was very different than the way I would shoot with my Sonys. Meaning, I'm not bringing my camera up to my eye with the viewfinder anymore. I'm going to be keeping the camera at a distance somewhat so that I can see the screen. And sometimes I'm not even looking at the screen to take a shot. This really just becomes part of my body. It becomes an extension of myself. And with the one-hand operation of this camera, it's really seamless. I think that's one of the biggest selling points, other than the size, is that it becomes an extension of yourself. You get really creative and get different shots that you normally wouldn't because of the bulk of an interchangeable lens system. I'm not saying that you can't get the same results with a bigger camera. I'm just saying that it's really easy with the Ricoh, and that makes the shooting experience really enjoyable. I would keep that in mind as you choose between the 28 and the 40, because if I could do it all over again, I probably would get the 28 first and then pick up the 40. Now I'm wanting the 28 to complement my 40 just for those moments that I'm not quite sure what I'll be shooting. The 40 works great for travel and some everyday stuff, but I believe that the 28 is better suited for everyday stuff. Meaning when you go out to restaurants, events, things like that, I find that the 28 might be the better focal length. It's not to say that I regret getting the 40, because I do love the 40 and I compose shots well in the 40. I just think the 28 might be a little bit more versatile for me. The Ricoh is honestly for any photographer that just wants to have an everyday carry that they don't have to think about. My biggest gripe with other camera systems is that eventually it becomes cumbersome. And what I mean is that some days I don't really feel like bringing my camera because I don't intend to shoot. And the Ricoh makes it really easy to just bring it with me, even if I don't intend to shoot. So why would I do that if I don't intend to shoot? Well, you never know what moments that you might want to photograph. And I think the Ricoh really fills in that gap. Where the Ricoh adds value to my kit is that it allows me to be stealthy and it allows me to be inconspicuous. That's just a personal preference though. That's how I like to shoot. I don't necessarily like to draw attention to myself. So I know when I have a Sony camera with my lenses, bigger lenses, it does draw attention. This allows me to kind of blend in with the crowd, look like a tourist, and look like I don't know what I'm doing. And I really do believe that that's an underrated non-feature of this camera. Being inconspicuous and stealthy is wonderful for everyday photography. It allows me to capture more candid moments and allows me to be in the moment. And I find that very valuable. Clearly, this camera has been out since 2018, and there's a variety of reviews out there. I know people are still thinking whether they should buy the Ricoh today or should they wait for the GR4 to come out. And while I don't know when the GR4 will come out, I'm sure it's right around the corner. In terms of image quality though, I don't know if there's anything that they can really do that's gonna make me feel like it's enough of an upgrade to jump from the GR3X to the next iteration. But there are some physical components that I believe that can be improved, such as the battery life, durability, weather sealing, things like that. So no, I can't really recommend buying this in 2025. I think it's worth holding out for. But you know what? I bought this 2 years ago with the same dilemma, and it's been 2 years and there's still no GR4. My recommendation is, if it matters to you to have something that you can carry every single day, I think it's worth it. At the end of the day, what matters is what's gonna get you out and shoot. And Ricoh, I can confidently say, is one of those tools and one of those cameras that just inspires me to go out and shoot. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the GR3 and the GR3X in 2025. Is it still worth it, or has it become outdated? I hope that you found this video helpful. Please consider liking and subscribing. I will be coming out with more content in the future.